Welcome to another raid review. Quickly looking back at Monday's night's raid. I just want to quickly look at the one of our wipes and pinpoint a couple of areas that we were pretty weak, which led to some deaths, and also what's making us struggle on heals. Have a look at a quick healing thing, and then show you something on wipefest to help you figure out how to improve. So, first area that we were pretty weak on was the bear leap. If you have a look at the 3 bear leaps in this attempt, so this was our 26th wipe, 4 minutes 38 fight, so it's a pretty good pull. If you have a look at this, is just as the bear leap goes out. Let's see if we get the target circle up. So there it is, and you'll see that it's hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, 8 being Rose, who was targeted by it. So you only want, including the player who's getting targeted, you only want about 5 players getting hit. 6 being an absolute maximum, somewhere between 4 or 5. So these 2 players here, Sparky and Damo, you could have just stepped to the side a little bit, and then it would have been hitting 6 players, which would have been okay. And then, so if you skip forward to 50 seconds, you can see the same thing 3 times. So here you can see the circle going out, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players. And I think just after this pack steps out, the problem with this is you're going to help reduce the charge damage, but you're going to massively increase the amount of people with dots, which is way worse than the charge damage. So you want to have between, as I said, 4 to 5 players. You see the same thing again very quickly at 1 minute 14. Way too many people in the circle. You got 2, 4, 6, 7. So you want to be constantly hitting somewhere between 4 or 5 to ensure that we're not stacking out the bleeds to make extra healing. So the other thing I want to quickly look at was the Sinseekers, and there was a pretty common thread of issue, which was going on. So if we jump just before this, you can see the Sinseeker going out. So that's the Sinseeker's just been targeted on the 3 players. You can see the white lines coming out. And count how many players are in the middle of the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So you see the Sinseeker blast land, and healers are now healing 3, 9, I don't know, 12 something. 12 something players with the dot. It should be 9 every time, or less if someone's immuning it. We should never have 12. The problem is you're just forcing you're forcing the healers to heal you more than is necessary. But especially when we get to P2, which we'll see at the 2-minute mark, you're going to end up creating way more ads than is necessary. So Sinseeker's just about to go out. There it is. The lines are placed. And look at how many people in the mid lane got hit again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6? Is that 6? No, 5. 5 players got hit by it. And so then when you watch it go forward, you see the number of ads cruising through. You end up with way more ads than is necessary, as well as the dots going out as well. So then we skip forward to 310, and it's going to be a little bit of a different issue this time. So the Sinseeker ads people get targeted, and the first one goes out. Second one gets done perfectly. Just one player, Bray, and Bray called out on immune soaking it, so everyone got out of the way. And then the third one goes out. You got 4 players hit. It should always be 3. And then 4 minute 10. This really highlights P3 and why you have to be super careful on P3 with soaking. So here come the lines. Now right here, you should be able to spot the issue. Now the mage is fine. EQ's solo soaking it, so this lane's cool. This lane's perfect. There's only 3 players, and each one of them is nicely separated. If you have a look right here, there's Dubsy and Cybrex sitting there stacked up together. In P3, you remember that you get an AoE circle around your character. And if you are stacked on top of each other, you're going to burst each other down, which is exactly what happens. Boof, both of them pop dead. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people getting smacked by it. So you do have to be super conscious of that. Now, some of the Neely, Sad, and Juyo, and I think a couple of others, Sparky, I can't remember who else. I saw a few of you were really good at leaping out and getting into position. I saw a couple of warriors leap right out here and stuff like that. Great, you want to be doing that, but just make sure, especially in P3, that you're not leaping on top of anybody, and make sure we're checking how many markers there are. I wonder whether it might be worth taking, I don't know if flares is still a thing. You know, those little smoke beacons that they used to have. Put a couple of smoke beacons up in the center here. So that way everyone can see how many players are there a bit clearer. So don't clip through P3 especially. So the next thing, just really quickly, so this is healing. This is healing, duh. This is healing on the Ripped Soul ad. So this is the tank debuff ad. Much better job. Last time I called out Bo, and obviously she stepped up and did a great job. So the big thing is, the way we're going to be doing it, we tried to get there last time, but we didn't really, is every single time we get the Sinseeker, we're going to have a healing throughput cooldown rolling, so that way the little ads get healed up by that. You'll notice Rose is quite high if you have a look. Oh no, this is the wrong one. I'll show you. Pierced Soul. You'll notice that Rose is at the top because he was hemming, and so the hem was smashing the little ads up. But what that will mean is the throughput cooldown will smash out the little ads, and then you guys can single target smash into the Ripped Soul. Because the less kiting and the faster that disappears, the quicker you can get back to healing the rest of the raid. So make sure you're completely focusing on that. And props to these DPS who I don't know how a hunter did it, but Spirit Men, look at that. But props to DPS turning around and funneling a little bit of healing into it where they need to. This was across the whole raid night. So the only other thing I wanted to quickly highlight for you is Wipefest. If you haven't seen Wipefest before, I would strongly recommend checking this out after every single raid. So if you come to Wipefest and you just click on guild at the top, find Bartholus, type severity, search, it's going to find all of our logs. And this is a really nice way of having a look at your character and considering how you performed on specific bosses. So this is not your DPS as much as your mechanical awareness and abilities. So we were looking at a report number 26, which would be that one there, I think. And so it's going to load up the boss. And you've got a couple of ways of doing it. You can have a look down here at mechanics and individually look at things like, for example, the fact that we used hardly any health stones or healing potions. Now we're actually going to focus on not doing that and saving them for P3, but just as an example. Or the fact that on average, and this is what I was talking about, we had 8.3 players getting the dot, which is just way too high. But probably the easiest way to do it is you just go players and find yourself on the list. So I'll pick on, where is he? I'll pick on Rhaegar. So you go into Rhaegar, find your character, and you have a look down the list, and it's going to tell you anything that you failed at. So deaths, you died. That means you failed. You didn't soak any. It's grey. You didn't soak any Sinseeker shots. Now because it's optional, it puts it as grey, but it lets you know that you didn't do it. And any health stones. So it's going to highlight for you any issues that you did wrong, which is super helpful. So I'd really recommend just chuck it every night, like on Monday and Tuesday, jump in here and just have a look at how you did at a few of the different fights. Look where you were weak, where you were struggling. Basically, the really short version is the lower the number you are, the more you sucked. So you took damage from stone shards. That's the P3 AoE on the ground, things like that. Either way, use it to see where you're weak and fix that. And if you have any issues with that, let me know. In the meantime, we will be back on Sunday with, same boss really, back into Huntsman, kill Shriekwing, get into Huntsman, and then hopefully take a look at Hungering as well, which is a little bit of a DPS check. It'll be interesting to see if our gear and DPS is up to it. We'll find out pretty quick. But either way, we'll see you Sunday, and very soon I'll be putting out a video on how to actually analyze yourself and get better DPS and healing. See you then.